There's a man sitting alone at the corner table. Everyone around him scrolls endlessly, chasing digital validation from strangers who don't care about their existence. Couples take selfies instead of talking. Groups gossip about absent people. Single souls swipe through endless faces hoping someone will fill their void. But this man is different. He sits in complete stillness, earbuds in, absorbing philosophy while chaos erupts around him. He doesn't fidget, doesn't check his phone, doesn't scan the room for approval. He is utterly self-contained. And that makes him the most dangerous person in that entire space. Why does someone who needs nothing from anyone become such a threat? The answer reveals civilization's deepest lie. Every system, every institution depends on one fundamental assumption. You are incomplete without others. You need their approval, their love, their validation to exist. But what happens when someone discovers this is completely false? When a human being realizes they're already whole, already complete, they become ungovernable. And ungovernable people terrify systems built on control. Marcus Aurelius understood this centuries ago. The most powerful emperor in human history spent evenings alone, writing private thoughts about true strength. He wasn't journaling for therapy. He was training his mind to be independent of everything external. In his meditations, he wrote about the man who has freed himself from others' opinions, who finds a center within himself, who cannot be shaken by praise or destroyed by criticism. This wasn't philosophical theory. This was survival training for someone who held ultimate power, yet refused to let that power depend on anyone's recognition. Centuries later, Friedrich Nietzsche walked mountain paths alone, his mind blazing with insights that would outlive empires. He saw what most refused to see. The individual who creates his own values instead of inheriting them from society is the most revolutionary force on earth. Nietzsche called this person the Übermensch, not because they're superior to others, but because they're superior to the need for others. They don't rebel against society's values. They simply create their own from nothing. That act of creation threatens established order. Both philosophers discovered the same terrifying truth. The person who doesn't need anyone cannot be controlled by anyone. They become a walking threat to every system built on dependency, manipulation, and control. You cannot threaten someone who doesn't fear rejection. You cannot bribe someone who doesn't want what you're offering. You cannot shame someone who doesn't derive worth from others' opinions. You cannot manipulate someone who has made peace with being completely alone. This is why culture works so hard to convince you that solitude is loneliness, independence is selfishness, self-reliance is antisocial behavior. Every message tells you to connect, network, find your tribe, never be alone with thoughts. Why? Because the moment you discover you're complete by yourself, you stop being a profitable consumer. You stop seeking validation through purchases. You stop needing others to tell you who you are. The psychology of the man who needs no one operates on a different frequency. While others frankly seek approval, he has learned self-approval. While others fear silence, he befriends his own mind. While others run from discomfort, he sits with demons until they become teachers. This emotional independence creates an unshakable foundation no external force can destroy. He becomes like a mountain, unmoved by storms that devastate everyone else. Marcus Aurelius practiced the discipline of desire, constantly examining what he wanted and why. Was this desire his own or programmed by society? Did satisfying it make him stronger or weaker? Did pursuing it increase freedom or dependency? Through relentless self-examination, he developed psychological immunity. Nothing could penetrate his inner fortress because he built it brick by brick through conscious choice rather than unconscious reaction. Nietzsche took this further, questioning not just desires but entire belief systems. He realized most people live believing things they never chose, following values they never consciously adopted, pursuing goals handed to them by parents, peers, society. The truly free person must become their own philosopher, their own lawgiver, their own source of meaning. This doesn't mean becoming immoral. It means becoming so deeply moral that morality comes from understanding rather than external authority. This is where the threat becomes real. When someone stops accepting inherited beliefs and starts thinking independently, they become unpredictable. They stop following scripts others can manipulate. They make decisions based on reasoning rather than social pressure. They become impossible to control through fear, guilt, shame, or desire because they've transcended the need for others to complete them. Our economic system depends on people buying things they don't need to impress people they don't like. But the self-sufficient person has broken free. They know the difference between wants and needs. They cannot be manipulated through advertising because their identity comes within, not from external possessions or status symbols. Our political system depends on people influenced by popular opinion and tribal loyalty. But the independent person thinks for themselves. They cannot be controlled through partisan manipulation because their values come from reason and experience, not group identity. Our social media ecosystem depends on people desperate for validation. But the self-contained person doesn't need likes, comments, or shares to feel worthy. They engage when they choose to, not because they're addicted to digital approval. This is why society pathologizes solitude and independence. They'll call you antisocial, narcissistic, or mentally ill for preferring your own company to shallow interaction. They'll insist humans are social creatures who need community, conveniently ignoring that the strongest communities are formed by strong individuals who choose to connect, not by weak people who desperately need to belong. The man who doesn't need anyone has learned the most liberating truth. You came into this world alone. You will leave it alone, and every moment of genuine peace, joy, and fulfillment must be generated from within. Others can enhance your experience, but cannot create it. Others can share your journey, but cannot give it meaning. Others can love you, but cannot make you love yourself. This realization transforms everything. Relationships improve because you're no longer desperate. Work becomes fulfilling because you're not seeking validation from bosses. Decision-making becomes clearer because you're not worried about others' reactions. Life becomes adventure and self-discovery rather than anxious performance for invisible audiences. Here's the paradox that makes this path even more threatening. The person who needs no one becomes irresistibly attractive to everyone. Complete self-sufficiency is magnetic because it's rare. People are drawn to those who are whole within themselves because most are fragments seeking completion through others. When you stop needing others, they start needing you. When you stop seeking approval, others seek your approval. When you become complete alone, others want to be part of your completeness. Yet you're not doing this to attract others. You've discovered something better than external validation, internal peace. You found something more reliable than others' love, self-respect. You've built something more lasting than social status, genuine character. That authenticity is so powerful, so threatening to systems built on artificial needs, that society will do everything to convince you it's wrong or impossible. The path requires courage most will never develop. You must sit alone with thoughts until you're no longer afraid of what you'll find. You must question every belief, every desire, every assumption about what you need to be happy. You must lose relationships with people who profit from your neediness. You must be willing to be misunderstood by those who cannot imagine existing without constant external validation. Start tonight. Sit alone for 10 minutes with no distractions. No phone, no music, no escape. Just you and the truth of who you are beneath social conditioning. If you can handle that, increase it tomorrow. Keep expanding until you can sit with yourself for hours without needing anything from anyone. That's where your dangerous freedom begins. That's where you become the threat society fears most. A human being who is complete.